Coming up on UCF Nightly News. Find out what the new age eligibility will be to receive the COVID-19 vaccine and if you might be able to get it.
We'll show you how a frog stole the spotlight and took home a grand prize.
In sports, we'll take a look at what UCF Pro Day looked like this year and how a receiver zoomed through the 40-yard dash. Nightly News starts now. Good afternoon and welcome to Nightly News. I'm Jaret Kappelman.
And I'm Tumetel. Today is Friday, April 2nd, 2021.
Police are still trying to identify the driver in a hit and run that killed a UCF student earlier in March. The parents of UCF student Joshua Sanchez found out their son died in an accident near Colonial Drive last Wednesday. According to a press release by the Florida Highway Patrol, Sanchez was walking across Colonial around 1 a.m. when a yellow Camaro hit him, then fled. Sanchez was pronounced dead at the scene, but remained unidentified for several days. Sanchez's girlfriend Samantha Plock set up a GoFundMe page to help with legal costs. The driver of the Camaro has not yet been identified, and the accident remains under investigation.
More than 95 million Americans have received at least one dose of the COVID-19 vaccine so far, but the Biden administration reports another surge in cases may be on the way. The CDC Director, Dr. Rochelle Walensky, says COVID-19 cases are continuing to rise, reporting almost 7% over the past week. And health officials say hospital admissions are now on the rise in 11 different states. 12 states are removing mask and social distancing restrictions in recent weeks. But President Biden says he will call on mayors and governors to reinstate at least mask mandates. More than 500,000 Americans have now died from the virus, and cases exceed more than 30 million.
College viewers at home may soon be able to get the COVID-19 vaccine. Governor Ron DeSantis announced the age requirement for receiving the vaccine will be lowered to 18 years old on Monday. I will tell you what this means for college students.
Florida is pleased to announce that all adults in the state, age 18 and older, will be eligible for the vaccine beginning Monday, April 5th.
DeSantis said in a press conference that 70% of the 4.4 million seniors in Florida have received the vaccination. This means UCF students who are non-essential workers will be able to get the vaccine. Justin Freilich, a senior marketing student at UCF, is really excited to get it because he can be around his family with less concerns.
Yeah, I mean, it just helps me feel better around my parents and stuff like that. Make sure they're not going to get it, and grandparents, etc. And yeah, I don't know how long it'll take me to get it, but we'll see.
Getting the rest of the community vaccinated is important as the virus still spreads really quick. Dr. Kenneth Alexander says that the vaccine will fight off the virus a lot better than without it.
So if you take the COVID vaccine, it may not prevent you from getting an infection, but it will very likely prevent you from being sick and will almost certainly keep you out of the hospital.
It was also announced that 16 and 17-year-olds can get the COVID vaccine, but they can only get the Pfizer version of the vaccine and not the Moderna and the Johnson & Johnson. The Florida Division of Emergency Management said there will be more information for teenagers on April 5th. The UCF vaccination site will be taking appointments starting on Monday for those who are 18. Students can visit the UCF app to set up an appointment or call the COVID hotline for more information. UCF officials warn students that appointments will likely fill up fast. They say students might have to wait a couple weeks after scheduling an appointment to get vaccinated.
A counselor and HIV researcher professor says she wishes we had learned better for the early response to HIV to prepare for more empathy during COVID-19. UCF professor Rochelle Joe says that the past year is very similar to the early 1980s before HIV had a name, and when the letters AIDS were the most haunting of the alphabet. Joe says there continues to be a lot of finger-pointing about the origin and lack of empathy during COVID-19. Joe says it's important to show empathy and learn from past health experiences.
We have to respect the human dignity of every single person on the planet. Whether we like them, whether we know them, whether they hate us or not, there's a level of human dignity that exists in everybody that we really have an obligation to honor.
Joe says her inspiration for empathy during these times is drawn from her losing her loved ones due to HIV. Joe continues to push to reduce stigma on campus and encourage people to be aware of other health struggles.
For UCF students, spring break is just a short week away. Different than normal spring breaks, this year's takes place during a pandemic. Reporter Julia Silva will tell us how the pandemic has affected this break for students in popular spring break destinations.
Spring break crowds are back at Daytona Beach, a popular spring break destination for UCF students. The Hilton Daytona Beach's marketing manager, Liz Wittig, says they've been having a lot of guests come to stay at their hotel this spring break season. However, she says that this year there isn't as many college students.
Right now, we're really actually seeing more families coming into the destination. For us, pretty much since Bike Week happened, it was like a flip of a switch and spring breakers came in right behind it.
Wittig says that their Hilton has a safe check-in system where guests can check in and out using their phones instead of going to the front desk to limit face-to-face interactions. Wittig added that all rooms go through a 10-step sanitation process to assure the rooms are clean for the next guest. While traveling and going to the beach does sound fun, the CDC is still recommending postponing all travel and staying at home for the break. Instead of going to the beach, why not enjoy a relaxing day by the pool? Sophomore nursing major Walter Granger says he will still be seeing his family this spring break.
I'm seeing a lot of my folks. I have some from California coming down to see me, then I'm seeing some other family in Florida. So I'm making sure that I'm keeping a safe distance away from people and whatnot and, following, COVID protocols.
While gathering in crowds is still not advised, the CDC says that outdoor gatherings are safer than indoor ones. In Orlando, Julia Silva, UCF Nightly News.
The CDC still recommends staying home and not traveling for the break. They also say to continue wearing masks whenever around other people and always maintaining the 6 feet social distancing guideline.
UCF's College of Nursing saw a 26% increase for applications for the coming year. In the 12 months that the world has spent fighting COVID-19, healthcare workers have stepped up to save lives. That hard work is having an impact on the next generation of nurses, doctors, and medical professionals as students inspired by their determination are now changing their career paths. Assistant Dean of UCF's College of Nursing, Dr. Jessica Simmons, says the amount of students applying for the program this year was unprecedented. UCF's College of Nursing currently enrolls and graduates the most pre-licensed nursing students of any other public university in the state.
A new bill aims to put a cap on the amount of THC for medical marijuana, and some patients are in favor of it. Different opinions are being voiced before the bill moves to the House for approval. The bill states medical marijuana doctors cannot prescribe patients more than 10% of smokable THC as it aims to limit the amount of cannabis that patients receive. Florida Representative Anna Escamani is working alongside Representative Carlos Guillermo Smith to stop the bill from passing. Escamani calls on UCF students who feel passionate about the bill to let their voices be heard.
It's really important that Florida stop criminalizing and setting restrictions on cannabis. Not only is it a revenue generator, but we also know that cannabis has been a leading support of medicine for Floridians across the state.
Escamani says she encourages students to reach out to their local lawmakers about the proposed bill.
The UCF Police Department welcomes a new four-leg member to their team. Two-year-old Dale Lab Chipper shows as one of UCF's therapy dogs. He joined the department after former therapy dog Paisley retired. Chipper's training was complete in fall of 2020, making him fully certified. But detectives continue to bring him to events on campus and in the community, like Cap's Positively Stress Event Free that happened on Thursday. Police officials say he will be used to comfort crimes of victims in the police department's soft room. Police officials also say Chipper will continue to work for as long as he can.
Teachers in Florida may soon receive $1,000 in bonuses. This comes after a proposal from Governor Ron DeSantis on Thursday. If bonuses are approved, more than 3,600 public school principals and about 180,000 teachers will benefit. DeSantis says educators experienced a lot of uncertainty in the last year. He says this is an effort to show them gratitude.
Hey John, it felt pretty chilly walking in this morning. How's the weather looking like for the rest of the day?
Well, Cliff, if you thought we were done with cold fronts for the year, clearly you thought wrong. As you can see, it's currently 63 degrees with a 52% humidity, which is relatively low for this time of year in Florida. And then we have a north wind at 20 miles per hour with a 0% chance of rain, all clear and sunny skies. Back to you, Jared and Cliff.
Thanks, John. When we come back, we will check in with NSM Editor-in-Chief Emily Hernandez to get an update on what's on the web.
and see how UCF students' Easter plans may look a little different because of the pandemic.
Plus, find out how frogs hop her way to the spotlight by winning the Cadbury Bunny title.
With Easter just around the corner, plans may be looking a little different this year because of COVID-19. The CDC gives holiday tips on how to stay safe during Passover and Easter. The CDC recommends celebrating virtually, but if you plan on being with others, outdoor is safer than indoors. The CDC says to always keep a mask on and stay 6 feet apart. Freshman biology major Odelia Ortez says her Easter plans are completely different this year because of COVID.
Every year, my family members and I visit my grandparents in Puerto Rico for Easter, but given the current situation, we really won't be able to. My grandparents are older, so they are at risk of getting sick.
For those who plan on hosting a celebration for Easter, the CDC recommends providing single-use options and using disposable items.
There is a new Cadbury Bunny. The winner of the $5,000 grand prize is a UCF student who entered the contest with her pet tree frog. UCF Knightly News reporter John Whitley gives a look at Betty the Frog's rise to stardom.
UCF Senior Communication Sciences and Disorders major, Caitlin Vital, is the proud owner of the award-winning frog named Betty. She says her mother sent her a link to the competition and she knew Betty would be perfect. Betty beat out over 12,000 pet entries to become this year's Cadbury Bunny. Vital says the video submission is what separated Betty from the others.
And I think that's where she really stood out, is because I got to make a little audition tape for her, and she's just very photogenic and is fun, and I worked really hard in the video, and I think the quality really stood out compared to the other audition tapes.
Vital says she will use her winnings to pay for graduate school as she gets her master's in communication sciences and disorders. Vital's roommate, Allie Judge, says they have been into frogs for some time and own 4 others. She helped Vital enter the contest, but they could not have seen the victory coming.
Whenever we were entering, or she was entering, we were like, oh, this would be really fun. I'm sure a dog or a bunny or cat or something cute like that's going to win. But we're really proud that we're the first amphibian Cadbury bunny owner.
Vital says she has received a large amount of national attention for Betty the Frog. She was most taken back by a tattoo artist in California who sent her a picture of someone tattooing Betty the Frog on their body. In Orlando, John Whitley, UCF Nightly News.
Vital says she does not have any plans to enter Betty in more contests. However, Vital does say she is selling Betty the Frog merch online to help her pay for grad school.
Now we'll take a look on what's trending on NSM Today. NSM Editor-in-Chief Emily Hernandez tells us what's more on happening on the web.
This week on NSM, check out how UCF PD highlights their female officers for Women's History Month. See why the Florida House of Representatives passed an anti-riot bill and what this means for Floridians. And in sports, check out how UCF softball swept Houston in a 4-game series this past weekend. That's all I have for you this week. Check us out on the web at nsm.today.
Thanks, Emily. Check out nsm.today to stay updated on all things UCF.
When we come back, we'll take a look at the weather forecast for the upcoming weekend.
Plus, find out how a new UCF Now technology can detect cancers and other diseases. Detecting illnesses early on can make a huge difference, and a new UCF Now technology gives a boost to detect cancer and diseases. I'll take you through on what exactly they're doing over there. UCF researchers are creating a new Now technology to detect diseases and cancer at a much faster rate. They plan on making a screening technique that's 300 times more effective than usual. The test shows different colors which show its concentration. The stronger the color, the easier to identify the problem. Zheng Shi and Zhao Shua are the two UCF researchers working on this Now technology. Zheng Shi says COVID-19 made the process a lot tougher.
That COVID-19, so I think first our lab was kind of like shut down for almost 2 or 3 months, right? And I think like during that, I could not do anything about my work.
She also says that collaborating was also slowed down due to the pandemic. A biomarker for colorectal cancer was used in this study, but in the future, this technique can also be used to detect even more cancers and diseases. In fact, this may even also help out those in the medical field. Senior biomedical science pre-professional major Talia Brito is currently working at a hospital, and she says that having this type of screening will be a great help in the medical field.
Very, very useful to many different kind of patient population, because sometimes they come in for something else, but then if we screen them for this cancer, with this cancer new technology would be very helpful.
For now, Xi and Xia plan on continuing to smooth out the process of using this new Now technology before moving forward. In Orlando, Cliff Tumetel, UCF Nightly News. The program will continue to research and refine the technology and apply studies even further to help out. Nightly News will keep you updated on any new information.
A UCF professor says Pluto should not be considered a dwarf planet. Lead author and UCF planetary scientist Professor Philip Metzger says the real determining factor on whether or not an object is a planet depends on how the celestial body formed. Metzger says there needs to be a better scale between a planet and a dust speck with a little gray area. Metzger explains why Pluto should not be labeled as a dwarf planet, but scientists must adjust their definition of a planet.
It needs to be large enough to be round by its own gravity, because it appears that when an object is large enough to be round, then it turns on active geological processes.
Metzger says it's good to debate topics and continue to question space exploration and research. Hey John, the weather was a bit colder than usual this morning, but how's it looking across the whole state?
Well, I'm glad you asked, Jaret. Let's get into our highs and lows. In Tallahassee, it's going to be a high of 63. Jacksonville, 57. Orlando is going to be a high of 64, and then Tampa, 71. As we move down towards Miami, the high is going to be 73. Let's take a look at our lows. It's going to be a very brisk 35 in Tallahassee, 42 in Jacksonville, 49 in Orlando, 48 in Tampa, and then as we move down to Miami, it warms up just a bit. It's going to be 64 degrees. Let's take a look at our 5-day forecast. Saturday, it's going to be a high of 71 and a low of 52 with a 0% chance of rain. Sunday, we're going to have a high of 76 and a low of 53, once again with a 0% chance of rain. So very nice Easter weather for you on Sunday. Monday, it's going to warm up a bit. 78 degrees is the high with a low of 56 and a 0% chance of rain. Tuesday, we're going to have a high of 82 with a low of 58. Once again, another 0% chance of rain. And then Wednesday, it's going to warm up to 85 degrees with a low of 61 and then another 0% chance of rain. So as we move out through our week, it's going to be clear and sunny skies. Back to you, Jared and Cliff.
Thanks, John. When we come back, we'll see how the UCF baseball team has prepared to face off against the USF Bulls.
Plus, find out which UCF football player stood out to NFL scouts at the Pro Day this year.
Knights fans, I'm Madison Little, and here's your UCF Sports Update. The UCF baseball team takes on the USF Bulls in a doubleheader today. The Knights are coming off of a 5-2 win last night, where they were able to take down the longtime rivals USF. The Knights were led by center fielder Jeffrey Pena, who had 2 hits and 2 RBIs for the Knights. UCF heads into conference play with an 11-14 record. Head coach Greg Lovelady says the team needs to prepare better heading into the second half of the season.
Isn't promised yesterday has no bearing on what we do today. We just got to find ways to continue to get better, coaching better, and play better.
At 2 p.m. with the second game starting 15 minutes after the first one ends. But if you can't make it to tonight's game, you can catch the Knights on ESPN Plus today and tomorrow. UCF Pro Day showcased the talents of college football players hoping to get drafted to the NFL yesterday. Former Knights players took part in different drills for scouts. Nightly News reporter Robert Husby tells us more.
10 UCF players took part in various tests and drills for visiting NFL scouts. All 32 NFL teams were represented. The players hit the weight room first, where they showcased talents such as the vertical jump. Wide receiver Jacob Harris says he came into Pro Day with a business-as-usual mentality.
This is what I do on a daily basis. Bigger stage, but it's nothing new. And, this is what I love doing. I just have fun out there.
Players also participated in the 40-yard dash. Harris ran the fastest amongst receivers with a 4.39, while cornerback Aaron Robinson was the fastest of the day with a 4.38. Safety Richie Grant ran a 4.53 and is one of the top-ranked safeties in the 2021 draft. He says his film will back up his competitiveness.
The film speaks for itself. You can go back as far as you want to. Since my first season ever playing football at 10 years old, I've been productive. I've always been one of the smarter guys on the field. Always been a leader.
Receivers took part in drills to test their catching abilities and route running. Visiting teams will now decide where these players end up on their draft boards. With Pro Day in the record books, the hopeful Knights will wait and see if their names are called when the NFL draft kicks off in Cleveland. In Orlando, Robert Husby, UCF Nightly News.
The 2021 NFL Draft is the weekend of April 29th and will allow 3,000 vaccinated guests to attend. These UCF players are looking to take their football careers past the collegiate level. The UCF men's soccer team takes the field tonight against SMU to break a tie. The Knights head into the weekend on a 4-game win streak, their most recent win coming from last Saturday against the USF Bulls. The Knights, along with USF and SMU, are currently in a tie for second place in the AAC table. The Knights are looking to push ahead as they face off against SMU today at 6 p.m. at the UCF Soccer and Track Complex. This will be their final home game of the regular season. The women's softball team also hits the field tonight. The team started their 4-game series against Tulsa and Oklahoma yesterday. The team started the series slow with a 5-1 loss. The team is 25-7 and was on a 6-game win streak before their loss last night. In the NCAA rankings, the team ranks 22nd in the country with less than 20 games remaining. The Knights are also scheduled to play 5th-ranked Florida on April 14th in Gainesville. But tonight they have a doubleheader against Tulsa with games at 4 and 6. That's all the time I have for sports this week. As always, go Knights! Back to Cliff and Jaret.
That's our time for right now. Thanks for joining us. Remember, you can always keep up with us during the week on our website, nightlynews.ucf.edu.
And if you've got a story today you want us to know about, send our way. You can reach us at ucfnightlynews.com@edu. Thanks for watching and have a good day.